In this video, we're going to be reviewing schedules and, what it takes to create one inside of Revit. So in order to create a schedule, we're going to go over to the View tab. We're going to go to the Schedules and Schedule Quantities. Now, that's going to be your most commonly used schedule. There are some other schedules which you can use in here now. Graphical column schedule is more of a structural column schedule, so unless you're a structural engineer, you're probably not going to be using it. Then you have material takeoff, which allows you to get quantities in terms of square footage and other things like that related to materials. So for example, if you have walls as a schedule quantities will schedule the actual walls in terms of linear feet and square footage for the entire wall. Material takeoff will break down that wall into its many materials or layers. So if you have brick or something else, material takeoff will actually pull out square footage for each of those. Sheet list, it's what allows you to create a drawing list or an index. Note block is a special type of schedule that looks at tracking a specific symbol or generic annotation. View list, it's exactly what it sounds like. It gives you a list of all the views in your project. Now the key thing to remember here is that schedules are not just reports. Every single row that you see in a schedule is typically an element inside your model. So for example, let's go ahead and create a wall schedule. When I go to schedule quantities, choose my category, I'm going to leave it as wall schedule, and I'm going to schedule building components. It's not going to be a key schedule, that's more of an advanced feature. I'm going to go ahead and say new construction and hit OK. Now the first thing that it'll ask you is to choose which parameters you want to see. So in this case, let's go ahead and look for type. So because walls are system families, I don't really need to save to look at a family. It needs to be a type. Walls have three main families, right? They have basic walls, stacked walls, and curtain walls. So everything would potentially just read as basic wall, except the curtain walls. So I'm going to go ahead and choose type. Then I'm going to maybe want to look at length, the base constraint, maybe the top constraint, base created, so I know whether they're existing or new. Now everything's new in this project. And then maybe structural usage if that's something that I want to check out. Let's go ahead and actually mark also. Or not mark, type mark. All right, let's go ahead and hit OK on this. So this is what the schedule ends up looking like. I'm going to put these side by side, because one of the things I want to make sure that you understand is that this is not just a report, right? If I click on something here, it is something inside the model gets selected. So you can't just go in and delete rows, because it's going to actually delete that wall. That's gotten people into trouble a lot if they're not familiar with Revit, thinking this is just an Excel. So this is a very basic schedule. Now let's say that maybe I wanted to group walls by level. I'm going to go over to sorting and grouping, sort by base constraint, nope, not length. Give this a header and a footer, and let's go ahead and do totals only. Now for the second sort, I'm going to do type, and then let's hit OK. So you can see here, all my L1 walls are right here, all my L2 walls are down here. So by giving the base constraint a header, it means that I really don't need this column. So I can't delete it. If I delete it, I can't use it for sorting and grouping. So I just need to right click, hide column. That makes it a hidden field. Now, face created kind of useless in this project, so I'm going to go ahead and delete it. Structural usage, useful, but don't need it, so I'm going to go ahead and delete it. Type mark, I'm going to leave, it's useful. And then we have the type. So what I'm going to do is I'm not going to give it a header actually. What I'm going to do is I'm going to just uncheck itemize every instance. By doing that, it's going to group everything under my sorting, right? So it's going to group everything as my level and then by type. So potentially what I'll see is one storefront, one generic 6 inches, one concrete 10 inches. Let's go ahead and hit OK. Now there it is. Now my length varies, right? Because there's different lengths for each wall. If I select here, I'm selecting all my concrete walls. If I select here, all my 6-inch walls at level 1, right? So there it is. Now let's say I wanted to see the totals here. I need to go over to formatting, click on length, and say calculate totals. I'm going to hit OK. And right away, I can see the total of concrete walls, total of generic 6-inch walls, total of storefront walls, and the general total at L1. So that's been a quick overview, a beginner's overview of schedules. Thanks so much for watching. If you found this video helpful, give it a thumbs up. Got any questions? Head over to bimdad.com and let us know. And of course, don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on future content. See you in the next one.